Hello everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Monster vs. Monster. Today we will be focusing our efforts on two of the more higher level Slayer creatures, Dark Beasts and Ganodermic Beasts. This episode was a suggestion by Cal Slaffen, so if you have a suggestion for a future MvM video or any RuneScape related idea in general, be sure to leave a comment down below. Now let's get on with the comparison. First up we have the Dark Beast, boasting an impressive level 90 Slayer requirement to fight. The Dark Beast has 8,500 total life points and will grant over 1.1 thousand combat experience per kill, and this is including Constitution experience. You will also be rewarded with 331 Slayer experience if you are on task. The Dark Beast can attack using melee or magic based attacks depending on your proximity to the beast itself. It has a maximum hit of 600 in both combat styles and is weak to bolts. The Dark Beast has been updated recently to once again become aggressive, so don't go wandering around the Mourner tunnels unarmed or you're gonna have a bad time. This beast does drop big bones, so it's recommended to bring yourself a Bone Crusher as well as a split Dragon Tooth necklace or better to heal back some prayer points during the fight. The Dark Beast does have an above average blue charm drop rate and is the only monster in game that drops the elusive Dark Bow. If you're lucky, you can pick yourself up a Serenic Scale Drop as they sell for around 300k each on the Grand Exchange using current GE prices. The Dark Beasts themselves can be found within the Mourner tunnels during and after the completion of the quest Morning's End Part 1, and you can also access them here far easier by teleporting to the Temple of Light with a Crystal Teleport Seed after completion of the quest within the Light. Dark Beasts can be found within Kuradal's dungeon if you have been assigned them as a task by Morvran or Kuradal herself. Equipment style recommendations include, but are not limited to, at least a minimum of 65 defense to equip Royal D'hide, 80 range to wield a Royal or Chaotic crossbows, and the rest of your equipment should reflect your defensive levels. Since you are 90 Slayer, you should be able to afford somewhat decent gear, but if not, then just bring the best you own. Remember to bring your Mighty Slayer Helm, or its lesser equivalent if you are on task, or if you own a Mask of Gloom and have not completed 1,000 kills whilst wearing it, you can equip that to gain extra Slayer experience per kill, as well as gaining the same damage boosts that the Slayer Helm offers while on task. Your inventory setup doesn't need to be anything fancy, but just keep in mind that you will do more DPS with overloads or super ranging potions and the Anguish Curse. If you are able to use Soul Split, you won't need to bring any food, just remember to bring some prayer renewal potions, and utilizing the Bone Crusher as well as the Split Dragon Tooth necklace or better will ensure that you will always have full prayer points. And if you kill the Dark Beast fast enough, you might not actually even need any prayer renewals, but you should always bring at least an extra prayer potion or super store just in case. Dark Beasts do have an uncommon chance to drop Rune Full Helms and Chain Bodies, so bringing Alk Runes or a Spring Cleaner would be a good idea. Bringing a Charm Imp will also save a lot of time collecting charms if you do plan to gather them. And lastly, a Crystal Teleport Seed after completing the Within the Light quest can teleport you straight to the Mourner tunnels without the need of wearing full Mourner gear to get in, making it much easier to access them. Within an hour you can expect to make around 6.1k prayer experience, 345k ranging experience, 113k constitution experience, and 153k slayer experience, as well as killing about 408 dark beasts an hour using the same equipment I show in this video with overloads and the Anguish Curse. Obviously, your experience and kills per hour will scale up or down slightly depending on the equipment you use. Not much prayer experience, but the Bone Crusher is mainly used just to keep your prayer points high while slaying. You do get quite a fair amount of range experience as well as pretty good Slayer experience, but you should expect more than this if you are actually on task with a Mighty Slayer Helm or have better gear than I have. You will notice that my experience tracker at the top right doesn't exactly show the same values that I just mentioned, but I also had some bonus experience in both prayer and ranged, and my range tracker was accidentally set to both ranged and defense, misfortunately. But apart from experience, you should also expect to make between 2.5 mil to 3 mil an hour, or more if you get lucky with some Serenic Scale Drops or perhaps even some Dark Bows. This isn't too bad money-wise, there are obviously some better methods out there, but this is great for a Slayer task. But the real question is, are they better than Ganodermic Beasts? Well, let's take a quick peek at some of the Gano Beasts' stats, then we'll find out. The Ganodermic Beast has the highest assignable Slayer level requirement at 95 Slayer required to kill. They are immune to poison, so if you were planning on bringing weapon poison, then just forget about it. Gano Beasts have 12,500 total life points and will grant over 1,400 combat experience per kill. This is including Constitution experience. They will also reward you with 565 Slayer experience while on task. Ganodermic Beasts will use magic-based attacks with a maximum hit of 332 and are weak to fire spells. They are not aggressive, so if by the off chance you encounter one of these creatures by mistake while exploring, you won't have to worry about dying. Unless of course you do attempt your luck at killing one without the necessary Slayer level requirement. This beast does drop big bones, so it's recommended to bring yourself a Bone Crusher as well as a Split Dragon Tooth necklace or better to heal back some prayer points during the fight. The Ganodermic Beast does have a below average charm drop rate, their most common being blue charms. They are the only monster in game that drops the polypore stick required to create the polypore staff, as well as a wide variety of seeds, most notably the papaya, palm, yew, and magic seeds, although you can expect to receive a small variety of high-level herb seeds as well. Ganodermic beasts are known not only for their great seed drops, but Ganodermic flakes as well, which are used to construct the Ganodermic armor for mages. These flakes are dropped commonly, dropping between 1 and 270 each time, so they are very much worth picking up, and will absolutely add to the profit you make during a standard trip. Ganodermic beasts can only be found on the bottom floor of the Polypore dungeon and the resource dungeon within. The easiest way to get here by far is by using the fairy ring code BIP, which will take you right outside the dungeon, or by teleporting to the duel arena with a ring of dueling and running northeast. Otherwise, you can just utilize the Alcarud lodestone and run all the way to the northeast until you find the dungeon. Equipment style recommendations include, but are not limited to, at least a minimum of 60 defense to equip Grifolic armor, 77 magic to wield an Armadil battle staff, and the rest of your equipment should reflect your defensive levels. Since you are level 95 Slayer, you should be able to afford somewhat decent gear, but if not, then just bring the best you own. Remember to bring your Mighty Slayer helm or its lesser equivalent if you are on task. Like with Dark Beasts, your inventory setup doesn't need to be anything fancy, but just keep in mind that you will do more DPS with overloads or super magic potions, as well as the Torment Curse. If you are able to use Soul Split, you won't need to bring any food, just remember to bring some prayer renewal potions. Utilizing the Bone Crusher and Split Dragon Tooth Necklace or better will ensure that you will always have full prayer points. If you kill the Ganodermic beasts fast enough, you might not need any prayer renewals, but you should always bring an extra prayer potion or super restore just in case. The only two things to keep in mind while fighting Ganodermic beasts is that, like all polypore creatures, they will deal damage quite quickly if you get too close to them by means of infection. As well, you will have to right-click the neem drupes they drop, as most of the seeds they drop will be hidden underneath. Within an hour, you can expect to make around 4.5k prayer experience, 326k magic experience, 107k Constitution experience, and 170k Slayer experience, as well as killing about 301 Ganodermic beasts an hour using the same equipment I show in the video with overloads and the Torment Curse. Obviously, your experience and kills per hour will scale up or down slightly depending on the equipment you use. Still not much prayer experience, but the Bone Crusher is mainly used just to keep your prayer points high while slaying. A little bit less magic experience per hour than the range experience you would get from the Dark Beasts, but still a good amount of XP nonetheless. As well as good Slayer experience, but you should expect more than this if you are actually on task with a Mighty Slayer helm. You will notice that my experience tracker at the top right doesn't exactly show the same values that I just mentioned, but I also had bonus experience and prayer, so I took that into account and adjusted the graph accordingly. Apart from experience, you should also expect to make between 3.5 mil to 4.5 mil an hour, or even more if you get lucky with your seeds and polypore sticks. You will also notice that approximately 700k of this loot was rare drop table items. However, it does appear as though Ganodermic beasts have a fairly high chance at accessing the rare drop table. Even if I remove the rare drop table items from the equation, you can still be making around 3.5 mil an hour, which is pretty good money-wise. There are obviously better methods out there, but this is great for a Slayer task. But now the question still remains, are Ganodermic beasts better than Dark Beasts? Well, on the one hand, Dark Beasts grant a little bit more combat experience per hour with a higher charm drop rate, but on the other hand, Ganodermic beasts grant more Slayer experience as well as more cash per hour. There is a difference of about 18k combat experience and 17k Slayer experience between the two during my testing, as well as an average of about 1.6 mil cash difference between them. If I would have to choose, I would definitely pick Ganodermic beasts as my preferred task, as they do feature more cash per hour, and the seed drops would serve more purpose to an Iron Man account. The only problem that I see interfering with this is that Ganodermic beasts do require 95 Slayer to kill. So what do you guys think? Do you side with the Dark Beasts, or do you agree with me and see Ganodermic beasts as being superior? Let me know what and why you think so in the comments. And don't forget to leave a suggestion for a future video while you're down there. I hope you learned something useful from this video, and I'll see you all next time. So for now, take care everyone.